shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who is fearless. A young loner on a crusade to champion the cause in a world of reckless automobiles. These are my motovlogs.
Hey, what's up YouTube? This is your boy Chris out on the Gold Wing. And it's a nice day to be out on the Honda Gold Wing. The current air temp right now I'm showing 70 degrees. And we're starting to get into the time of the year to where the weather is starting to change. You know, we've still been getting some highs in some of the lower to mid 90s, so it's still been hot, but it's starting to cool down. So depending on where you live, you're going to start seeing some of the trees starting to change here in the upcoming weeks. We're getting into the fall season shortly. The grass is starting to brown and it's starting to cool down, man. And it's just always good to be out on the Honda Gold Wing when the temperature is not as hot. You know, this summer it was so hot, man. It was almost too hot to ride. I mean, we're talking about triple digits. You know, I don't know, maybe it's me, but it seemed like this was one of the hottest years that I've seen in the Memphis area in a long time. And so while the temperature is starting to take a break, and during the time that I was actually not riding, I've been, you know, just keeping my bike maintained. You know, that's a great time to maintain your motorcycle when you're not riding. You don't want to be trying to fix on the bike when it's time to ride. You want to do that way in advance. So I'm going to be just keeping my bike at a state of readiness with my Amsoil oil changes. Got to keep the 100% full synthetic oil change on the Honda Gold Wing. And one thing about these motorcycles, man, it's expensive. Motorcycling is expensive. It's inherently expensive. You know, first thing, you got to buy the motorcycle. That's the first thing. Then you have to buy gear that you need. And then you're going to want to accessorize your bike. You know, one of the first things that I recommend as far as accessories for your bike, pick up the Gold Strike distribution block. That's the first thing that you're going to need for the motorcycle itself. Now, we got certain categories where we have safety, you know, the things that you need. But one of the things that I recommend, and this falls under the want, would be the Gold Strike distribution block. And why is that? Well, I'm glad you asked. One of the things I like about the Gold Strike distribution block is that it'll run Gold Strike, it'll run Caliente, it'll run your Pathfinder lights, it'll run your aftermarket lights, because you can straight wire them, and it has the ability to connect a trailer. You have that ability to connect the trailer. So I've noticed that a lot of riders, they'll buy one accessory, two accessories, three accessories, and next thing you know, you have a bunch of wires underneath your seat, which I've done it. I've done it on my previous generation Honda Gold Wing, and I've also done this on the new style Honda Gold Wing. At the time they came out with the new style Honda Gold Wing, they didn't have the Gold Strike distribution block. They had the Gold Strike harness. I think that part number is 48000, but they didn't have the distribution block. So now that they have that Gold Strike distribution block, you don't have to put all these different harnesses under your seat. You don't have to put Caliente harness under your seat. You don't have to put show chrome harness under your seat. You don't have to put the Pathfinder harness under your seat. All you got to do is buy the Gold Strike distribution block, and it'll run all of your lighted accessories for the new style Honda Gold Wing. Once again, it'll run Caliente, Pathfinder, it'll run like show chrome. You can straight wire your accessories to your bike, and also it'll run your Gold Strike lighted accessories, and it comes with a trailer light wiring that you're gonna need if you guys ever thinking about buying a trailer. And speaking of trailer, I'm pulling my Escapade trailer here this morning on my morning commute. It's always convenient to have a trailer. Now, there's a lot of riders out there that might even be considering buying a trailer, but you haven't pulled the trigger yet. You have your Honda Goldwing, and you're considering buying a trailer, but you haven't pulled the trigger yet. So let me give you a couple of recommendations to my viewers that's considering buying a trailer. Instead of, well, 3 things that you're gonna have to pull a trailer. 1, you're gonna have a trailer. 2, you're gonna need the trailer wiring kit. And 3, you're gonna need a hitch. So you gotta have those 3 things in order to pull a trailer. So since you are now considering buying a trailer, you don't have to go out and try to do it all at one time. If you're really thinking about and considering buying a trailer for your motorcycle, go ahead and pick up the hitch. Just pick up the hitch and get it on the bike, get it installed. You know, I have a video out there that'll walk you through how to put on your trailer hitch. I highly recommend the Rivco trailer hitch. Now, they have several hitches out there. I think Caliente makes a hitch as well. Caliente makes a hitch. Let me make sure I can get over here. Caliente makes a hitch. I highly recommend the Rivco. Make sure I can change lanes here. We got a bunch of right. But I highly recommend just pick up the Rivco hitch for your bike. You know, when I started out, I used a Caliente hitch and it didn't last. It ended up breaking. If you guys missed that video, I'm gonna leave a link where my Caliente hitch actually broke. And once it broke, I actually replaced it with a Rivco. I replaced it with a Rivco hitch. Once I replaced that broken Caliente with a Rivco hitch, I've never had another problem since. So I ran the Calientes in the beginning, and then I went to the Rivco on the previous generation Honda Goldwing, and I was so impressed with the Rivco that I actually put the Rivco hitch on this new style Honda Goldwing. So I have videos out there that tells you and shows you how to walk you through anything you need to do for your Goldwing. Be sure to check out my YouTube library. Anything you need for your Honda Goldwing as far as fixing, as far as adding on accessories, my video library will walk you through those particular installations. So the next thing you're going to need after you pick up your hitch, you definitely got to have your trailer wiring harness kit. And that goes back to the Gold Strike distribution block. If you pick up the Gold Strike distribution block, it already has the wiring for the trailer. It already has that wiring there, so you don't have to go out and put a trailer wiring harness kit because that wiring is already connected. It comes included. So get the Gold Strike distribution block number 1. If you're thinking about putting that trailer on, go ahead and get your hitch. So now you're set up for your trailer. You're set up. You already got the wiring. You already got the hitch. My videos have walked you through all of this. Then you can proceed to shop around for trailers. Now, they got used trailers. If you want to save a little bit of money, they got new trailers. It depends on where you would like to. Let's see if I can change lanes here. Traffic is so thick this morning. It kind of depends on where you want to get your trailer from. You know, the trailer that I have is the Escapade trailer. You can go to the California Sidecar website and it'll walk you through the sheet, the itemization sheet, and you can customize your trailer just the way you want it. Customize the paint. You can customize your, you know, your accessories like chrome wheels and things like that. They got all different types of trailers that you can purchase out there. Some people like Hannigan, some people like Bush Tech, some people like Time Out. There's so many different trailer manufacturers. Real quick, how do I rate those trailers? Well, I look at the suspension first and foremost. You know, you pretty much have 3 types of suspension on these trailers. You got torsion suspension, you have coilover springs, and you have air ride. Air ride is going to be, to me, that top tier suspension. But back a few years ago, some of the trailer manufacturers was having problems finding or getting those air shocks in, and they went to coilover springs. So you got some guys with Escapade trailers that got air shocks from the earlier years, and then the trailer like I have, which I have the 2021, it has the coilover springs. So you got air ride, you got coilover springs, and you got torsion suspension. Air ride is going to be your number 1 if you can find it. Your next best suspension would be your coilover spring, which works absolutely beautiful. To me, it's just as good as air ride. And then the more economical suspension would be the torsion suspension. It's going to be that torsion suspension. It pulls good when the trailer is loaded, but when it's empty, the trailer bounces. So you got to keep that in mind. So if you're going to go out there and pick a trailer, look at that suspension. Are you getting air ride? You got to consider that you can't even get air shocks anymore. Coilover springs, which is what I have, which I absolutely love it. It rides good empty, and it rides good when it's full. Or you can go with torsion, it rides really good when it's full, but when it's empty, it bounces around. So keep those things in mind. Keep those things in mind when you're purchasing a trailer for your motorcycle. So stay tuned to my channel. Be sure to visit my YouTube library. I have hundreds of videos on how to install your accessories for your Honda Goldwing, information about trailers, and even things that's not motorcycle related. You know, some people complain that some of my videos are not about motorcycle, but on the Caliente YouTube channel, I talk about anything and everything. There is no boundaries. This is your boy Chris, out on the Goldwing. Out on the Goldwing, one of the most technologically advanced motorcycles in the world, the Honda Goldwing. And I will, as always, I'll talk to you guys later. Deuces.